Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome sausage. I just say that. It fits with the theme. I like eggs. According to Jesse Soleil, they have about 6 grams of protein, some sodium, and enough cholesterol to clog the arteries of a blue whale. Yeah, it's probably not the healthiest thing to eat, but it tastes good. When else are you going to be able to say that you just ate 2 chickens? It's the all-American breakfast. What better way to cook it than in a cast iron skillet? I only cook in cast iron. I have since the first time I started cooking. I mean, I have experimented with new, innovative cookware, but I always come back to cast iron. My job is to convince you, too, to use cast iron. I want to tell you the benefits of using cast iron over Teflon, and show you the resilience that cast iron actually has. Now, I'm pretty sure that you need food to survive, am I right? Of course I am. Believe it or not, I too need food to survive. And if I'm going to eat this food, why not cook it with the best cookware that society has to offer? Now, given some of you might actually use photosynthesis to acquire your nutrients, but that would mean you're a plant. But on the bright side, cast iron pots actually make very durable planters. See, the issue today is Teflon and the existence of Teflon. It took over in the 60s, and since then, cast iron's basically become obsolete. There were infomercials galore, and everybody wanted to be a part of this new trend, this new thing, so everybody bought one. I'm willing to bet that if I went into your kitchen right now, I would find Teflon. I'm willing to bet that if I went onto Google and searched skillet, 90% of the results would be Teflon. You just don't see cast iron that much anymore. Let me ask you a question. How often do you replace your Teflon skillets? 1, 2 years, maybe less? It's because Teflon wears out way too quickly. I use the same cast iron skillets that my grandmother used when she was a child. The stuff lasts forever. Another issue with Teflon is it scratches like no other. You'll get these little flakes of non-stick coating in your food. It's delicious. I mean, it can't be all that bad though. According to Dr. Mersola, ingesting this Teflon only causes things such as thyroid disease, testicular cancer, and high cholesterol. High cholesterol on top of eggs that give you high cholesterol. What could go wrong? You don't have these issues with cast iron. They're relatively safe. I mean, yes, they do scratch a bit, but everybody needs a little more iron in their diet anyway. It's a win-win. Teflon, or polytetrafluoroethylene, burns when it gets too hot. And according to the University of North Carolina, when you inhale the fumes that it releases, you can develop flu-like symptoms. I mean, unless you're trying to get out of work with a free sick day, why would you subject yourself to this? And I know what you're thinking. I use Teflon all the time. None of this has ever happened to me. How do you know? I mean, just because you don't develop instant symptoms doesn't mean it's not affecting your overall health. Let's say maybe, yes, you haven't ever actually heated the Teflon up too high for the fumes to interfere with your respiratory system. According to Murphy's Law, it will happen eventually. With cast iron, you have 0% fear of inhaling any fumes. It takes up to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit to get it to even turn into gas. Your pan will melt long before that happens. This is important stuff to know. There are new studies coming out all the time talking about the dangers the Teflon has on your food. Why would you do that to your eggs? Just don't do it to the eggs. Now, say it with me. Teflon, bad. Cast iron, good. People have been using cast iron for over 2,000 years. And if you don't trust me, trust Mike Camo. He's an author and a nutrition expert. He states that the problem most people have with cast iron is the food sticks to it and it's nearly impossible to clean. But it's simply not true. A well-seasoned cast iron skillet could be just as non-stick, if not more so, than a Teflon skillet. Not to mention, cast iron really has no health risks other than if you drop it on your toes. Don't do that. It's overall safer than Teflon. They've been using cast iron since the Han Dynasty. My parents used it, my grandparents used it, and my great grandparents used it. And none of them had high cholesterol. Well, I mean, a few of them did, but it was completely unrelated, and that's a story for a completely different time. Now, I find it ironic that Teflon actually came out in the 60s. In 1961, according to Gian Garbarino, high cholesterol was first registered as a health risk. Coincidence? But that's not all. In 1965, there were 17 cases of thyroid cancer. Testicular cancer has doubled since the 1960s. It's kind of ironic that all of this is happening the same time Teflon is in everybody else's kitchen. Now, if everybody used cast iron, they could potentially lower these health risks. Not to mention their food would taste better because they wouldn't have little flakes of nonstick Teflon floating around in their eggs or soup. However, if people are to ignore this warning, they could potentially inhale fumes that could cause lifelong illnesses, possibly fatal diseases. Teflon is dangerous. It's made from chemicals that human beings were never intended to ingest. Teflon skillet can be heated to 500 degrees on high heat in less than 2 minutes, and that's the point in which all the gases are released. If it's heated to 1,000 degrees, it releases PFIB, which was actually used as a nerve agent during World War II. Why would you threaten your health like that? According to Healthy Holistic Living, they stated that Teflon fumes actually can cause death in small animals. During the course of 1 year, a Chicago veterinarian recorded the death of 296 birds, 105 of which were Teflon-related deaths. Now let's imagine for a second that you own a bird, and now it's dead, because you neglected to go out and get cast iron skillets and instead decided to use the cheaper, easier to use Teflon. Just use cast iron. Don't mess with your health. Don't kill your pets. For the love of God, don't ruin your eggs.